All right, this is the Spotlight here on Lookuptv with me, Brian Amwai. Yes, I'm sitting in for Ian Kitani. He will be with you in the coming week. All right, these are the top stories tonight. On the Spotlight tonight, Athi River residents continue to count losses as Portland demolitions enter day 4. Also tonight, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has officially opened thematic Mashujaa Day celebrations week in Kericho ahead of the Mashujaa Day celebrations themed Universal Health Coverage Afya Nyumbani. And President RUTO reiterates that his government is committed to fostering bilateral relations between Kenya and China. All right, now engage us on our socials. That is at Amwai Brian on Twitter, at Lookuptv. The hashtag we are using tonight is the Spotlight. Do tell us where you are watching us from and what you think about the stories that we are running today, and I'll be able to sample some of your feedback as we continue with the program tonight. We start this bulletin at 9:01. Now let's start. Residents of the East African Portland land continue to decry the inhumane manner in which the government is forcing them off their home. Now, preservation, which has now reached the 4th day, has resulted in property worth millions being destroyed, while owners rush against time to save what they can.
As bulldozers bring down palatial homes, others are racing against time to salvage a few household items and roofs. Homeowners narrate painful tales of how they acquired the disputed land, which the court ruled last week belongs to Portland Cement.
Shamba ya Portland. Na kama kwa kweli serikali inasema inataka kuuza, mimi kama mbunge wa Mavoko tumefanya vikao mbalimbali na Portland na wakakubali watauzia wananchi wakaji wa Machakos County hiyo ama hilo shamba.
Some were duped by land selling companies and possessed title deeds they believed are genuine. Some possess share certificates. Interestingly, some claim to have secured bank loans using the said documents to develop the plots they acquired. They cry for that while there is a ruling on ownership of the land, the court did not order demolitions, which they say have been carried out without any notice.
We have woken up to very shocking news of our people being demolished for their properties in their ancestral land and being kicked out. This government has always purported internationally to be a government that is caring. But what we have seen has shocked all of us, because we have realized that they absolutely have no humanitarian assistance to our people.
What is more disheartening is that some owners pay the relevant fees for building approvals from the county government and the National Construction Authority. The once lucrative shopping center, which reported booming business from the large population, has been reduced to rubble. Churches and schools have not been spared, to the chagrin of helpless residents.
Ni nini ngumu kusettle watu wa Machakos hapa? What is so difficult in settling the people of Machakos? I am very disappointed and I'm very annoyed. Na ni vizuri tumejua sisi kama viongozi wa Ukambani mali tumewekwa. And I want to say, without mincing my word as the governor of Machakos, mimi sitakubalia hata inchi moja ya shamba yetu iende. I will not accept.
On the other hand, police officers overseeing the demolitions have been reduced to cat and mouse running battles, with criminals stealing scrap metals and salvaged items. Despite the plea of locals and Ukambani leaders for the government to stop the demolitions, the massive destruction of property is ongoing on the earmarked 4,268 acres of land. Bridget Agola, Lookuptv.
Now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now says that the government is on course with its plans to fully roll out universal health coverage. According to Gachagua, out of 141.2 billion shillings allocated to the Ministry of Health, 18.4 billion will be spent on UHC. His visit in Kericho started in Keboge to assess the effectiveness of service in remote areas as he geared himself to officially launch the 4-day Universal Healthcare Coverage Conference, insisting that the government is committed in ensuring every Kenyan has access to healthcare.
That the RUTO administration is investing in promoting preventive healthcare to the grassroots in collaboration with our counties. This is alongside the ongoing reforms in the National Health Insurance Fund to enhance access to quality health care as enshrined in our Constitution. We are closely working with counties in establishing sustainable structures of promoting preventive health as envisioned under the universal health coverage. In this regard, we have allocated 141.2 billion Kenya shillings to the Ministry of Health, with at least 18.4 billion shillings going into the universal health coverage. We are determined to meeting and surpassing the minimum target of 15% of the national budget to the health sector, as per the Abuja Declaration of 2001.
The DP commended the community health promoters who will be responsible for ensuring that everyone has access to healthcare.
I wish to commend the community health promoters who have been engaged for this assignment. You are our heroes this Mashujaa Day. We can't pay you enough for the splendid work you are already undertaking. Once again, we count on your utmost dedication to deliver to Kenyans the promise of universal health coverage.
Now, away from that, and our sign language interpreter tonight is Josephine Ouko. Let's continue with the program. Now, the State Department of Public Service Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria has, on Monday while assuming office, revealed that Kenyans seeking services from Huduma centers will soon be forced to part with some cash to be accorded assistance. Kuria also stated that the ministry plans to empower key government institutions, among them KSG and the NYS, to help in service delivery. Stanley Lugaria now reports.
Public Service Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, while assuming office of the State Department of Public Service from outgoing CS Ayushua Jumu at Harambee House, has hinted at the introduction of charges for services offered around Huduma centers across the country, as well as providing private sector services at a fee while venturing into e-commerce to boost revenue generation.
We are also going to use our Huduma centers and interest the private sector to trust us in service delivery, even in services which have got nothing to do with the government. Because clearly, if this is one area where the public sector is doing much better than even the private sector, and so why not offer our services even for the private sector?
CS Kuria has also revealed that his ministry is poised to partner with key government functions, such as the National Youth Service NYS, which is said will bolster the agricultural sector, revive the manufacturing sector in the country, inculcate the culture of patriotism by serving as a tool of hope and discipline to Kenyan youth, including the Kenya School of Government, KSG, which is set to widen Kenyan influence as a government training hub, poised to start training the rest of African states on matters governance.
We'll be able to make the National Youth Service a major contributor in driving this country forward. You can also expect some major transformation in the Kenya School of Government to assist the country in areas which we don't understand, which are not historically part of our forte, areas like climate change, areas like green finance, and I've had a discussion with Dr. Rudeki Chewa, who is a Director General there.
Kuria, fresh from the Ministry of Trade and Industrialization, has called on all public servants to be productive, signaling countrywide invigilation on all projects as government grapples with time in actualizing goals and service delivery to its citizens.
For public servants to make a decision, a rational decision, a deliberate decision, whether they want to continue to be paying to this country or they want to be part of adding value to these people who contribute the taxes with which they are paid.
Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv.
Now, President William Ruto has said that his government will only support foreign investors who can engage in the value addition of the country's abundant raw materials, especially in the energy, water and housing sectors, urging Chinese investors to exploit existing opportunities in Kenya in the fields of energy, water and housing. Ruga Ival now reports.
With great dedication, President William Ruto listens keenly to the China president's translator, Xi Jinping, informing him of what to look forward in the Third Belt and Road Initiative BRI conference as Xi trickles down the programming of the conference, this being the first he is attending since he rose into power, with the objective of attracting more investors in the country. The president has clearly stated his expectations from the government of China following their commercial proposals in his country. Attentively listening to the proposals, 16 representatives, 8 from each country, tabled their reasonings.
We continue to look for opportunities to even the trade between our two countries by exploring possibilities of exports from Kenya, whether it is our avocados, the tea, coffee, macadamia, and I'm happy that we are now exploring possibilities of the sectors of livestock, both beef and leather products. Again, that would help cement and consolidate the relationship between Kenya and China.
President William Ruto started with acknowledging that Chinese investors must exploit existing opportunities in Kenya in the fields of energy, water and housing, saying Kenya will only support foreign investors who can engage in the value addition of the country's economy in abundant raw materials. Ruto emphasizes that interested investors must increase the value of its resources and natural resources.
Kenya is a great champion of renewable energy, and that is why our grid is almost 93% renewable. And that is a deliberate decision that we made as a country. And I'm very happy that you have technologies that can work with us to leverage on our renewable energy assets.
He made these remarks in an extensive tour of China's Engineering Corporation Limited in Beijing, where during the tour, he witnessed the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum and Energy in China. The MOU entails optimizing flexibility and reliability of electrical power system, planning, designing, transformation and modernization of power generation, transmission lines, distribution lines and substations, utilizing or unlocking the potential of renewable energy and advanced energy storage for supporting higher domestic energy sufficiency and electricity interchange, digitalization, modernizing and innovative management of power systems and power plants. The MOU was signed by Energy Principal Secretary Alex Washira on behalf of Kenya, while Liu Zishang signed on behalf of China Energy International Group. The two parties also agreed to continue to cultivate digital skills and enhance capacity building in Kenya. By signing the MOU, both highlighted there is need to develop green, digital and creative economy in Kenya. Ruga Ival, Lookuptv.
Thank you, Ruga, for that particular report. Away from that, Prime Cabinet Secretary, that is Musalia Mudavadi, who is also the Foreign and Diaspora Affairs CS, is today arrived in Sudan and was received by Ambassador, let me just take that again, was received by Ambassador Major General Samuel Nandwa, Minister Presidential Affairs Benjamin Mariel Barnabas, among other leaders. Now, the Prime CS is scheduled to meet with Salva Kiir, the President of the Republic of Sudan, and convey a special message from His Excellency President of Kenya, William Ruto. All right, time to take a short break here on the Spotlight. Right, continue engaging us on our socials at Lookuptv across social media. That is on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube. I'll be sampling your feedback as we continue the program tonight. We do ask you to tell us where you are watching us from and what you think about the stories that we are running today. Right, Josephine Ouko and I are taking a break. We'll be back in a few.
One day to go. Probox brand new iko hapa. Unategea nini? Ni kuchangamka. Tucheze loto kwa sababu kesho one day Probox inaweza kuwa yako. It could be you.
Unangoja nini? Cheza Loto, it could be you. Nenda kwa M-Pesa paybill number 777-000. Andika neno Look kama account number. Cheza na kati ya shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2,000 na ushinde sasa.
Over 18s only. Gaming can be addictive. Play responsibly. This message has been approved by the BCLB.
Cheza Loto.
Introducing the Kenya Trade Fair Fusion Sales Drive event in the heart of Nairobi at the Kenya National Archives. It's not just an event, it's sales generation with a remarkable return on investment. Get ready to let your booth do the talking as you study new market trends with lots of entertainment featuring traditional live bands, DJs and artists. For vendor registration, call 0724-715-334 or 0713-907-584 or 0723-861-173.
Are you looking for experts in waterproofing systems, concrete admixtures, flooring systems, refurbishment solutions, roofing, sealing and bonding, and building finishing systems? Look no more, as statehousekenya got you covered. With over 113 years of experience, we offer our customers a comprehensive one-stop experience and the best technical support. Our products are available in all leading hardware stores and building merchants across the country. Call us today on 0711 140 232 or 0786 140 834 or email us on sales@ke.sika.com. Sika Kenya, building trust.
Now, thank you so much for staying with us here on the Spotlight tonight. Now, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition leader Raila Odinga has dismissed reports that he is endorsing Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka as the coalition's presidential candidate in the 2027 general elections. Now, Odinga spokesperson Dennis Onyango stated on Monday that the praise for Kalonzo should not be interpreted as the party's position on its 2027 political ambitions, given that elections are 4 years away. Now, Timothy takes a look at the confusion around the 2027 presidential candidate for Azimio.
The supposed endorsement of Kalonzo Musyoka as the next flag bearer for Azimio coalition in the 2027 election has generated significant interest and discussion in the political arena.
Juzi nilisikia kama RUTO alikuwa pande hii nasema tu unajua baba hata simama. Sasa mimi nitakuwa na Kalonzo tu.
During Oburu's 80th birthday, Azimio coalition leader Raila Odinga showered praises to Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, falling short of publicly announcing that Kalonzo will take the mantle in the 2027 general elections. Odinga described Kalonzo as a highly capable and trustworthy leader.
Si tutasimama kidete na ndugu Kalonzo Musyoka. Yeye ni mtu mwaminifu. Tumeelewana vizuri?
However, Azimio Coalition has issued a statement contradicting the earlier remarks made by former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, asserting that the information should not be interpreted as the Azimio's position on 2027 political ambitions. The statement reads as follows. The Right Honorable Raila Odinga recognizes that 4 years before Kenyans go for another presidential elections is way too early for a political party to name its presidential candidate. Mr. Odinga therefore clarified that his praise for His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka for standing with him in the 3 successive elections. The Wiper leader's strong Christian values, the support Mr. Musyoka has built across the country, was not an endorsement of Mr. Musyoka as the Azimio presidential candidate in 2027. Rather, the praise was acknowledgement and appreciation of the past deeds that are in public domain. Mr. Odinga views Azimio as a coalition of equals, in which every leader stands a fair and equal chance to emerge as the presidential candidate in 2027, depending on each leader's relationship with the party membership. The candidate will, however, not be named until a year or just months to the 2027 general elections. Mr. Odinga, however, believes that Mr. Musyoka has what it takes to beat Honorable William RUTO in a free and fair presidential contest, contrary to Mr. RUTO's recent claims that he will easily beat the Wiper leader. Mr. Odinga further assures Azimio supporters and the country that he plans to remain very active in party and national politics all the way to 2027. His words for praise for Mr. Musyoka were therefore not intended to mean he had or intends to quit active politics. The statement, upon being released, has raised concerns and sparked alarm among Kenyans about Azimio's political strategy for the upcoming 2027 general election. Njegi Timothy, Lookuptv.
All right, thank you, Timothy, for that particular report. Away from that, a student from Nyamira was defiled a week before the kickoff of the KCSE exams. Now, the girl child from a vulnerable family learning at a nearby day mixed secondary school was accosted by 2 young men who were neighbors and sexually assaulted her. Let's get more on this particular story and also from the counties.
It is a wound that will leave a scar, a constant reminder of the pain that she felt and how her innocence was stolen from her. Just days before she sat for her exams, the people believed to be neighbors took advantage of the young girl before abandoning her after she cried out for help.
Nikapata wavulana wawili wameketi hapo kando kwa bench. Mmoja akaniita, nikamwambia unaniita saa hii usiku, unaniitia nini? Alafu kwenda kusonga mguu mmoja, wakanishika juu, wakanipepa, wakanipeleka penye wanaishi. Huyu mmoja akarudi akafunga hiyo gate. Mwingine akanifuruta kwenda kwa choo. Kunifuruta kwenda kwa choo, akaninajisi vibaya.
The mother, now distraught, is afraid that the incident will affect her daughter's performance in the coming exams.
Sasa mtoto wangu ameumia vibaya, alidhulumiwa vibaya, hata mimi kama mama nasikia vibaya kuhusu msichana yangu. Sasa wanaona kama mimi sina kitu, ni mnyonge, wana sitawafanyia chochote. Mimi ni masikini. Mimi nachuna chai kwa majani ya watu huko, ndio wananipea pesa, ndio nalisa watoto wangu vile mnaniona mimi ni masikini wa hai. Sina kitu.
Elsewhere, Freedom Fighters Association now wants the government to set up fund to cater for those who fought for the country's independence. They say the fund will be an appreciation for the role the fighters played as the country approaches 60 years of its independence.
Kwa sababu ya heshima hiyo juu ya wale wa Mau Mau, taifa nzima pale wako wapatiwe tajriba inayowafaa, tuweze kupatiwa yale mashamba ambayo tangu 1962 yanastahili kuwa katika mikono ya Mau Mau. Tunaomba hawa wazee wetu wao wako na mufi wasione mauti. Tafadhali hawa wazee mnawaona hapa, huu mufi wao Usione mauti iwe ni aibu kwa watoto wetu kama sisi watoto wao.
And finally, with the recent drought affecting pastoralist communities that saw herders lose close to 80% of their livestock, the situation has elicited a change in the way the local pastoralist communities perceive jobs in relation to gender.
There are 3 things that I would really persuade you to do. Number 1, the skills that you have gotten, make it your passion.
Catherine Saina, Lookuptv.
Now to business. Kuramo Capital Management Firm under the Moremi platform plans to invest 22 billion Kenya shillings in supporting female-led enterprises, which will empower the next generation of African women and promote gender-equitable fund management. Now speaking during the Moremi Accelerator Program launch, Sarangamau, who is the managing director of Moremi Fund, said that their main aim is to improve the ecosystem by supporting female-led African private equity and venture capital funds.
In a bid to lure more women into businesses, Kuramo Capital has partnered with Moremi Platform to invest 22 billion shillings, which will promote women-led enterprises. During the launch of Moremi Accelerator program, Managing Director Sarangamau noted that the reason behind the launch was to help women, for they were underrepresented at all levels in the business world.
The reason we started this platform was really because we could see that despite there being an acceleration of capital into Africa, women have been underrepresented at all levels, at fund manager level, senior investment professional levels, and then ultimately the female businesses that get invested in. With the platform, the idea is to accelerate and catalyze more female fund managers that will then be able to fundraise, catalyze more capital into those funds that will then ultimately get more businesses that are gender diverse invested in.
Moreover, Anjuki, Managing Director Sayuni Capital, said she's excited about the program as it brings together like-minded people who will benefit from the Kuramo team.
So I expect that the Moremi program will really bridge the funding gap, particularly for both women and local entrepreneurs. Unfortunately, what we find in the venture capital space is that less than 20% of the capital goes to local entrepreneurs. It's even worse for women entrepreneurs, where less than 5% of the capital goes to female entrepreneurs. The research shows that when you invest in female fund managers, they're more likely to invest in female or diverse funded teams. And then once these female or even diverse teams have the capital, and they're also more likely to support women entrepreneurs, they're more likely to hire women as CEOs. And so we find there's a very strong and positive multiplier effect by giving funding to female fund managers who then invest in female-run companies.
Shaka Kariuki, the Chief Investment Officer at Kuramo Capital, added that the firm focuses on creating long-term capital value to facilitate the sustainable growth of businesses across diverse sectors of the economy.
We are very excited today to be launching the Moremi Accelerator Program because we are at Kuramo, we are a firm believer that there is a gender gap in finance when it comes to private equity, and we are trying to put structures around that so that we can be able.
Now let's get sporty tonight. 25 elite coaches have embarked on CAF coaching course today, Monday. Among the coaches who are taking part in the 6-month course are Harambee Starlets manager Beldi Nodemba, Ulinzi Stars tactician Anthony Kimani, Postal Rangers assistant coach Bernard Kawinzi, and CAF instructor Jacqueline Juma, among others. Now the course intends to raise the standards of the football from the grassroots by nurturing more qualified coaches.
7 years down the line, the fruits.
The coaches in this class are consistent from class D, and they have maintained their tempo. And if you look at them, most of them have been in football for so long. Most of them have played even football, and they have been consistent, and they're here today. And it's encouraging because at times you can train, but people fall out. But this is a class that started in 2016 after elections, and they're here today, which means there's interest, there's consistency, and there's something good happening with the football.
And now eventually I've had an opportunity to do cafe. So I'm very, very elated, and I think brighter days lie ahead in as far as Kenyan football is concerned, because when you educate a coach, you by default educate a lot of players that will be handled by that particular coach. So I'm very excited with the journey that lies ahead.
Need to give them support. So that's why whereby if the federation is empowering players, having those activities that can empower players, that can make coaches grow, can make the game grow. I think for us as Kenya Footballers Welfare Association, we can give it 100% support, and I believe we are heading the right direction, because in between you have a player, and that's the issue here, and which is being dealt with a lot of keenness. So I believe we have a relationship that is working to us to make that to improve the game generally.
Congratulations, birthday. Congratulations.
All right, now Pablo Moja says watching, Habakuk Nyongesa says watching from Kitale. Thank you so much for your time. That's where we wrap it up here on the Spotlight. Let's do this again tomorrow on the Bottom Line KE. With me, Brian Amoy. I'll see you then. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Josephine Oko. Do have yourselves a lovely night.
We value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free to get in touch with us through 07